Hi, everyone. My name is Dustin. I'm the co-founder and CEO of uHoo. And today we'll be talking about sustainability and why it should be part of your startup DNA. Sustainability is defined by the United Nations as meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. The whole idea or concept here is that when we try to achieve something or meet the needs of something, whether it be our business or our customers, we will always consume resources. So we need to be responsible in consuming these resources so that we don't overconsume it, that we leave nothing for the future generation. And in line with this, what the United Nations has done is develop these SDGs, or the Sustainable Development Goals. There are 17 different goals, and you can choose whichever one your company wants to contribute to. And contributing to these would help create a more sustainable world. And as us as a company, as a startup, we also contribute to these goals. So as a brief introduction about what we do, we are your first step to clean air. We build hardware and software to help you create healthier and more sustainable homes and workplaces. So uHoo monitors your environment so you know exactly how to improve it. You can see the two types of hardware on the screen. We provide dashboards, apps, so that you can access all the real-time and historical data of your environment. We measure your air quality, your light, your noise environment, basically a whole understanding and holistic view of your indoor space. And we provide you with analysis of this, provide you with alerts and tips on how you can improve your indoor spaces. And we can also integrate our solution with your building systems so that you can create a healthier and also more energy efficient building and automate the building to make it smarter as well. And with the onset of the pandemic, since we are able to understand the quality of the environment, we eventually developed uHoo Virus Index. So this is a world's first. It is patented, and we are able to give you a real-time risk assessment of the coronavirus surviving and becoming more transmittable in the air inside any type of indoor space. The coronavirus has been proven to survive in a specific environment and be more transmittable in a specific environment. And since our solution is able to measure all the parameters that affect the survivability and transmissibility of the coronavirus, we are able to develop this index and provide you a real-time risk assessment so that you can reduce coronavirus risk in any indoor space, whether it be your office, your building, your restaurant, your hotel. We can help you achieve that. And as we grow our business, we focus on contributing to the SDGs that I've spoken about uh, earlier. These are the five that we continuously contribute on towards. SDG number 3, which is good health and well-being, SDG number 5, which is gender equality, SDG 11, sustainable cities and communities, SDG 12, responsible consumption and production. We use 12 as well because we have our own hardware. We do produce products, and SDG 17, which is partnership for the goals. And I will go into detail on how we contribute to each of these SDGs and why we think that sustainability should actually be part of your startup DNA, because this is how we're building our company. So when it comes to SDG 3, we are able to help our customers prevent the next asthma attack. We don't really try to market it ourselves, but we let our customers speak for how they use our solution and how it is able to help them create a healthier home and a smarter home and improve their health and well-being. So as you can see from this testimonial from one of our customers, whose name is RR, by using the data and referencing it to PM 2.5, which is dust particles, or VOCs, which would be chemicals in the air, they're able to determine whether these parameters are exceeding safety levels and which would trigger the next asthma attack. So when they see these parameters rising, they would be able to take proper action in their home and bring it back down so that they can prevent the next asthma attack. Another customer that provided testimonial or review online is Brandon. They utilized the product in their home, specifically for his dad, and the product was able to save his dad's life. So his dad was suffering from illnesses in their home, and initially they thought it's because the dust particles are a lot. Maybe there are a lot of chemicals because of the wood flooring that they've just renovated. But apparently, after buying those different purifiers, nothing really helped. Then they decided to purchase our product, And then from there, they understood what was happening in their space, and they identified and traced it back to high CO2 levels inside their home, which was caused by their burning gas fireplace. And just by understanding this data, they were able to take proper action and remove the poisoning that's happening to his dad. And with that, he was able to save his dad's life. So these are the types of uh, testimonials that we get by when people use our solution. So this is on the residential market. We also have testimonials on the commercial market. One of our clients is the Port of Rotterdam in the Netherlands. So their building is certified a green building, but people inside the building, the occupants, the tenants, they constantly complain of discomfort. They have a sore throat, they have dehydration, the environment is stuffy, they just pass sicknesses and illnesses to each other. They didn't have any air quality data for proper control of their heating, their ventilation, and their air conditioning. So what they've done is they hired an HVAC consultant who recommended to them that they need to retrofit the building with new systems. But the question there is, why do you need to retrofit it with new systems when the building is new? It's also green certified. So the most likely issue there is the building is just not being managed properly. Excuse me. But the biggest problem that the Port of Rotterdam had was that all their tenants in the building didn't want to renew their lease. So if nobody renewed, the entire building would be empty. That was their biggest problem. So what we told them was, why don't you deploy our solution? Let's understand what's going on before you take any action. Because as I mentioned earlier, we are your first step to clean air. You first need to understand, once you have the data, that you can take proper action. And once you take the action, you would understand whether that action was effective or not. So it goes back to the data. So when our solution was deployed, we were able to identify CO2 levels were extremely high. Humidity was extremely dry. It was 20% roughly. So they needed to adjust it up to 50% or 60% to not make the environment so dry. They also found out that the filters in the building were not being maintained properly, which caused a lot of particles in the air. So after adjusting the filters in the building, they were able to reduce the particles. So all of these actions that they took reduced 95% of the complaints. And from there, they didn't need to retrofit the building with new systems. That saved them $150,000. And within 5 months, they were able to get all of their tenants renewed. And this created a lot more trust between the landowner and also the tenants, because now the air quality data is being shared with the tenants, showing them that we're taking care of your health. We're just not here as a commodity or as a space for you to rent. We actually do our work. We make sure that you're safe inside the building. So these are just some of the things that we do when it comes to good health and well-being. And the next SDG that we contribute towards is SDG 5, which is gender equality. And we look at, when we do hiring, we look at diversity and inclusion a lot. In fact, we make it a policy that when we hire, we keep our management team more than 50% or at least 50% female. And when the gender distribution in the team is approximately half and half, wherein half are male, half are female. And when we look at resumes and candidates, we don't really focus on the education. We speak with them, we talk to them during the interviews and understand what they really like to do, what their skills are. And from there, we decide who we want to hire. So we don't discriminate based on hiring. We want to make sure that we are able to also contribute to SDG 5 in terms of the policies that we develop within the company. This makes hiring more difficult because in a way we're limiting the candidate pool that we have. But in spite of that, we still want to proceed with this because we know that this is good because we still contribute to a more sustainable environment. The next aspect would be SDG 11, which is sustainable cities and communities. With the onset of the coronavirus pandemic, the concept of green buildings has shifted to healthy buildings. Prior to the pandemic, it's always been about let's try to get our buildings green, which is all about resource efficiency or energy efficiency. But since the pandemic happened, the idea of buildings have moved from just being green to being healthy. Because when you look at the building as a whole, only 10% of its cost is attributed to energy, whereas the other 90% is people. So if you can create a healthier environment, you actually have a higher ROI for your building operations. So our solution helps Our commercial developers, real estate developers, achieve sustainability certifications for their buildings. These certifications include WELL, FitWell, Reset. So these are the certifications that are gaining much more ground today because it's not just about resource efficiency. It's about creating a proper uh, building that is built properly, not just from uh, the construction material side, but also from the operational perspective, wherein data is key in making sure that you keep the building healthy because buildings always change. It deteriorates, crowd changes. So you want to make sure that when you make adjustments to your building, it is responsive to the crowd that is in that building at that particular time. And with this, we also create healthier workplaces. We reduce sickness inside the building. We reduce fatigue. We increase productivity. And when you're able to optimize the energy use of your building, you also reduce greenhouse gas emissions of the building. So overall, you reduce the carbon footprint of the building and you, in a way, decarbonize the operations of a building. So these are the benefits of our solution. We focus a lot on the environment and how we are able to impact building operations. And here I'd be happy to share with you a testimonial from one of our customers in the Philippines. And I'll be playing a video.
Could achieve these optimal levels. And it was when I was asking this question that I serendipitously met Dustin, founder of uHoo, and tried their indoor air quality sensors. So I just want to briefly share our experience so you hear firsthand from an actual, honest, transparent developer how it works. Well, first, we used their indoor air quality device and made the invisible visible. And real-time data is read by Menarco's maintenance team and interpreted to address minor concerns before they disrupt operations or cause adverse reactions to our occupants. One of our first issues that we had to tackle was the temperature in the lobby. We first placed an indoor air quality sensor and happily saw that our air quality readings were excellent. But our lobby temperature registered a 26 to 28 degree temperature, despite the thermostat being set at 23 degrees. We never really knew it was a problem. Nobody ever complained. So recognizing that our temperature was beyond the ideal range, our engineering team set to work. First, the air conditioning system was checked for leaks and resealed. The indoor temperature barely changed. Then the refrigerant was recharged. We still hadn't reached our ideal temperature. And another leak test was done, and on and on. With each tweak, the uHoo device indicated our progress as detectives of our own building's dilemmas. Eventually, the team deduced that the imbalance in the refrigerant pressure contributed to the high temperature and successfully addressed it. So today, Menarco's lobby is within optimal range. So next, in one of the offices, a high carbon dioxide level had registered. We learned that the workers did not turn on the fresh air fan because it was noisy. So we didn't even know it wasn't on. Acoustic comfort was prioritized by them without realizing the effect of carbon dioxide on the body. Menarco's engineering team checked the hangar support and as a possible source of noise, they calibrated it and voila. Since then, the staff has kept the fresh air fans on and carbon dioxide has been at an optimal level for us. Lastly, the third issue happened in our command center. We couldn't understand that why, despite our excellent readings, the carbon dioxide levels would spike at certain times of the day. Data is data, and it only becomes useful information when interpreted. As our team investigated further, they realized that the increase occurred during shift turnovers of our housekeeping and our security staff. The room would become overcrowded, resulting in higher CO2 emissions. So as a thoughtful response, Menarco's shift turnovers have been moved to a naturally ventilated space where safer physical distancing is observed. And our CO2 level ultimately remains below 800. A new feature I'm so happy to see is the virus index feature, and this informs us of the space's susceptibility to COVID. Just from our experience at Menarco, our reading is normally green and optimal, as you see here. We've had a few individual cases of COVID, but because of the protection provided by our healthy building and being a low density corporate premium tower, the case has always remained singular at 1 with no community transmission. So, in summary, the indoor air quality sensors has been a helpful tool in two basic ways. First, allowing Menarco to see the invisible, supporting our operations team to manage the building better using a data-driven management system instead of gut feel. And second, it equips us to maintain safe spaces and healthy tenants as a testament to our WELL Gold certification and WELL Health Safety rating.
All right. Yeah, so the next SDG that we focus on would be SDG 12, which is responsible consumption and production. When we build our product, we make sure that it is green from start to finish. We look at the raw materials that we use, who our suppliers are, the entire production process, the kind of packaging that we use. We make sure that the packaging is biodegradable and uses recycled materials. We make sure that the raw materials that we use do not have anything hazardous in them. And this makes then we also make sure that when we design the product, when it starts operating, it is energy efficient. It may look nice, but if it consumes a lot of energy, then it doesn't meet our goal of this SDG 12. So we look at different aspects when we build our product. And this not only goes for the hardware part, but also software. When we build our algorithms, we also make sure that it doesn't consume too much power or energy from the server side. So we also make our algorithms more efficient as well. And because of how we built the product, just earlier this week, we were able to achieve a Green Building Product certification from the Singapore Green Building Council. So this is actually an industry first. No air quality product has ever achieved such a certification. So we are the first one in the industry to be able to achieve this. And this is actually testament to how we build our products and how we build our solutions. It is always about being responsible to the environment and to the people and to the people on this planet. And the next SDG that we focus on is SDG 17, which is partnership for the goals. We partner with different companies, with the different governments to achieve a healthier and more sustainable society. One of the projects that we did was with the government of South Holland in the Netherlands. And what they do is they enact policies and manages the entire region of South Holland. And their main issue is really about looking for technology to create a smarter city, focused on health and well-being of the residents in that particular province. And what we've done is this project looked at deploying our solution across more than 100 homes within one town. And the data of those homes are pushed back to the government so they have access to it. But consent was given by the residents because they want to be part of this project. So this is a way for government and citizens to work together when it comes to sharing data. Because government wants to have data, citizens can generate data, they can share the data back to the government. And using the data within these households, they're able to understand the living conditions within these public housing, whether it's healthy or not, whether the activities of these homeowners are affecting their health. So a lot of insights were derived. We even found out that at 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. in the morning, the nitrogen dioxide levels across all the homes in that town would just rise and just go really high to very unhealthy levels. It took a month or so for them to figure out what was causing it. And what they realized was that the highway near the town was had high traffic of large trucks moving from Holland to Germany during that time. So it's the transport of cargo from between the two countries. So that was a big insight for the government. So now their idea is, how do we enact policies to control traffic so that pollution would be minimized for this particular town? Do we spread the pollution throughout the day so it maintains low, or do we congest them within 1 to 2 hours a day so it's high at that time but it's good for the rest of the day? So these are ideas that they're able to develop and solutions they're able to develop and policies based on the data. So this is a very interesting project because this is the first project in the EU that involved both citizens sharing their personal data with the government. And they actually utilize this as a basis for future projects wherein citizens are involved and their data is shared with the government. And this is a short testimonial from the governor of the province of South Holland, wherein we're able to help them contribute to a smarter, cleaner, and stronger South Holland. Another initiative that we did was our corporate social responsibility during the pandemic. In June or July of this year, the coronavirus ravaged Indonesia. So their cases went up to 50,000 a day. So that was a bit crazy. So what we did was we worked with our local partner in Jakarta, wherein we donated our solution, and our partner there donated air purifiers, dehumidifiers, and other solutions to help monitor and manage the air quality inside clinics, hospitals, churches, and mosques in Indonesia. So I'll be playing a video on what we did.
Pada tahun 2021 ini, kami kembali memberikan dukungan kepada para tenaga medis yang melakukan tugas yang mulia sebagai garda terdepan dalam program pencegahan penularan pandemi COVID-19 melalui air quality monitoring dan air treatment-nya. Kenapa air quality monitoring begitu penting? Karena dengan adanya alat bantu seperti air quality monitoring ini, maka para tenaga medis dapat mengetahui tingkat resiko berbahayanya ruangan kerja di mana para dokter, para perawat, dan semua tenaga medis melakukan pekerjaan berjam-jam dalam satu hari dan setiap harinya di masa-masa pandemi ini. Dengan adanya air quality monitoring, maka para tim medis dapat melakukan tindakan pencegahan sehingga dapat dihindari hal-hal yang tidak diingini. Kemudian untuk treatment, kami tahun ini memberikan air purifier dengan HEPA filter yang telah kami berikan ke beberapa rumah sakit baik dari Jawa Tengah, Jawa Barat, dan kemudian masih akan kami lanjutkan ke beberapa rumah sakit lainnya di Indonesia sebagai dukungan kami kepada pemerintah, demikian juga kepada para tenaga medis di Indonesia pada masa pandemi COVID-19 ini. Kami berdoa, kami berharap supaya semua tenaga medis ada sehat-sehat dalam menjalankan tugas yang mulia di masa-masa sulit ini. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih Pak Cawir, mudah-mudahan segala amal baik Bapak bisa menjadi barokah buat semuanya.
Amin, Bu. Amin.
Terutama buat tadi garda terdepan kami nakes yang langsung berhubungan dengan pasien. Terima kasih Pak, semoga bermanfaat.
Kami dari Rumah Sakit Sarjana Yusuf mengucapkan terima kasih kepada PHSW21 Teknologi untuk bantuan berupa 10 square air purifier. Terima kasih. Terima kasih.
Ucapkan terima kasih kepada HEPA Teknologi, dalam hal ini Pak Cawir Ginting selaku Direktur yang langsung menyerahkan kepada kami selaku Direktur RSUD Kota Depok.
Syukur alhamdulillah pada hari ini saya berada di Masjid PLN di Jalan Trunojoyo Blok M Kebayoran, bertemu dengan para pengurus masjid, Pak Sugeng dan kawan-kawan pengurus Masjid PLN. Kami berada di sini dalam rangka menyerahkan sumbangan alat filter udara atau air filter. Ada 4 unit ya dengan kapasitas besar untuk dapat digunakan di lantai atas masjid. 4 unit ini dari HVT Air Quality, dan dari SIGRE. Ya, SIGRE pada tahun ini berulang tahun ke-100, dan di samping itu juga menyumbangkan sebuah alat untuk memonitor, yaitu Air Quality Monitoring. Dan alat ini ditaruh di ruangan dan akan mengukur berbagai jenis kualitas udara, polutan-polutan, diantaranya juga CO2 dan juga berbagai parameter dari kualitas udara.
All right. Yeah. So that was our corporate social responsibility initiative for this year where we help Indonesia battle the coronavirus. So going back as a summary, these are the 5 SDG goals that we contribute towards SDG 3, 5, 11, 12, and 17. And when we go back to the definition of sustainability, it's really about meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. As a startup, I understand that we focus a lot on the bottom line, wherein we try to make sure that we manage our cash flow properly. We focus on the profit aspect of the business. But the way we view things and the way we do things is not just that. I mean, we're an early stage startup as well, but we don't want to just focus on profitability or just pure growth. We want to make sure that we are being responsible in the way we run the business. So the way we view things is about having the 3 bottom lines, or the triple bottom line, wherein all the work we do, we always focus on how it affects people, how can we improve health and well-being, how it affects the planet, how can we make this world more sustainable, how can we be responsible in the way we do things, and of course, also profitability. Because when we build a business, we should be sustainable, not just in terms of the cash, but also in terms of how we contribute to society as a whole. So my challenge to you now, as startups or even as large corporates, what will you do to make the world more sustainable? Thank you.